Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of InTap Campus Care panel discussions. I, Mehek Dhiman, your host for the day, would like to welcome you all. Panel discussion is a platform where educators and leaders come on board and express their viewpoints related to education and society. Our topic for the day is innovative methods for assessment and evaluation of student learning. For the same, we have with us Miss Pooja Malhotra, ma'am, Principal of Adarsh Public School, New Delhi. A very warm welcome, ma'am.
Good evening to everyone.
Then we have Miss Veena Mankoti, ma'am, Principal of Edify World School, Hyderabad. A very warm
Good,
welcome to you, ma'am.
good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mehak, for the introduction. Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have with us Miss Sujata Naidu, ma'am, Principal of the Creek Planet School. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mahek. Good evening to all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So let's start off with the session, ma'am, shall we? So, Pooja ma'am, to start off you with, what are some of the limitations in your opinion that you think, that the limitation that affects the traditional methods of assessment and evaluation when it comes to student learning, ma'am?
I feel the traditional ways of evaluation now have become redundant, and the children are into the tech era, and they need different ways of being engaged, different ways of evaluation. So that is the reason we should adopt to new innovative ideas such as vblog is there, and then round robin activities are there, then there are open book exams, then classroom assessment is there. So the classroom polls are there, concept maps are there. So these are the ways in which you can assess the children better in the current scenario, because children are doing very well and they are much abreast with the technology, and they want different ways of learning and assessing. So that is the reason we must adopt to the new methodologies, the new pedagogies which are coming up.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am. That was very wonderfully explained. Moving forward, Veena ma'am, how can the technology be used to enhance the assessment and evaluation of student learning, ma'am, in your opinion?
Uh, what I feel, being in this education sector, things have evolved in the last decade, and over last 2.5 years or 3 years, if we count, pandemic has been a blessing in disguise of for integration of technology in our education system, teaching learning process, and mainly for the assessment processes. So, since we are into the physical schooling, I think technology plays a very important role wherein the physical teaching learning process and assessment can go hand in hand. The same tools that had been used during the pandemic can be a wonderful tool for assessment, because children, teachers, they have become very proactive in terms of using technology. Let it be, Zoom poll, let it be any online quiz through Kahoot, podcast, anything can be used to assess the children in a very open environment. And in this process, what happens is students get their instantaneous result then and there. They are able to see how they have performed previously and how they have evolved now. Their grades or their scores have gone higher or lower. So integrating of technology makes lot more meaning as compared to our traditional way of evaluation, and it also bring in the inquisitiveness in the children when we use technology in terms of assessments. That is how I prefer using technology at the most within the stipulated time of 40 minutes or 35 minutes of teaching and learning processes. Thank you.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Reena ma'am. Sujata ma'am, Pooja ma'am, would you like to add something to her?
What I feel is there are different kind of learners, and we need to look into all the learners. There are individual differences. No five fingers are same. In the same way, there are set of children in the class they which are different from each other. So, as a teacher, we need to identify each and every child, how the child is going to learn. If the teacher keeps this in mind, then she is a good teacher because she needs to get to the level of the children. She needs to understand that all children will not learn visually, all children will not learn auditorily, and all children will not learn in a kinesthetic manner. So she needs to understand the kinds of learners in the class, and she needs to actually play that role so that each and every child understands the concepts which are being taught to them. So the traditional methods were writing down papers, giving 3 hours paper, but with the help of various teaching strategies, changes in the pedagogy, and the help which we are getting from CBSE, lot of things have evolved over the time. And thanks to technology and to the various methods of teaching and assessment, that the children are doing much better because their individual needs are being met in such manner. For example, in English, we do listening skills, there's assessment of speaking and listening skills. So, again, the child, the one who is not able to write properly, can better express himself or herself. So, I feel all these things are very beneficial. Then, coming to subject enrichment activities, which again plays a very important role and helps a child to express himself in a better manner rather than just roting and then writing down on the papers. Thank you.
Thank you
So
so much.
adding on to Pooja ma'am's sentences. So always concept maps also, which usually provide a visual representation of connections between the concepts that students have already learned, and these concepts are connected by directional like labeled links to show the relationship between them. So concept maps are like excellent tools that can provide the instructors with a general assessments, and like e-portfolios, podcast vlogs, talk show performances. All these are the different types of innovative way of assessing the students. That's what I would like to add on.
Thank you so much, Sujata ma'am. Sujata ma'am, we all have heard of formative assessment. So could you explain us what a formative assessment is and how is it how is it useful when it comes to the student learning part?
Yeah, you see, formative assessments are the assessments like ongoing assessments. It's not. It need not be a separate way of kind of a heavy, lengthy questionnaire or something like that. It's just to assess whether the learning objective has met or not, whether the outcome is met or not. See, there are plethora of ways in which the assessment can occur. It's a broad term, that encompasses all actions that teachers and students engage in to retrieve the information that is used to evaluate and change the teaching and learning at the end of the given time of period. So generally, teachers are able to expertise drastic improvements in their skills when making regular use of assessment methods. There is no particular number that only these many formative assessments should be made in the throughout the entire year. It depends on the school. If you want to assess more number of times, it can be in the form of a simple fill in the blanks, or it can be in the form of a simple MCQs. It can be a kind of role plays, as previously Pooja ma'am told about the subject enrichment activities. All this comes under the ongoing assessments, just to check whether the child has understood something what the teacher has instructed in the class. And as previously mentioned, assessment falls into two different categories, formative, summative. Formative is like ongoing, and then summative is like a kind of term examinations. So determining how the learning is taking place on the way towards the meeting the same end goal. And alternatively, the final outcome of a learning intervention is measured through just a summative assessment, like term one and annual examination, half yearly or annual examination. So both these assessments are very crucial in supporting the current and the future students in their learning. Okay, and gone are the days of simple clickers or bells. Educators now have access to a variety of tools that allow for instant feedback, retrieval practice, assessment tool that takes place during the learning process to help build a knowledge networks in students' minds and help reinforce their learning. So it allows the educators also to continuously gauge their student learning while making it a little bit effortful and challenging to the students as well.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sujata ma'am. Veena ma'am and Pooja ma'am, would you like to add something to her? All right. So moving forward, Veena ma'am, we all have heard of performance-based assessments and project-based learning. So does it provide a more comprehensive evaluation for student learning, ma'am, in your opinion? And if it does, then how, ma'am?
Sure. So what I feel basically is a child should be, groomed for conceptual understanding and development of skills, which is very important. So as per the new pedagogy, every school is opting and they are training their teachers for the same. A child doing an activity or an engaging project which is being given, and he might do it independently or he might do it with their peers. So what happens is the skill that the child is being learning into develops much quicker, and the understanding of the concept is easier. And when it happens in a peer learning, it adds up icing on the cake, because two minds working together really help the child to for a better understanding. So project based learning definitely is an added way of developing a child for understanding the concept. And eventually, when the child is being assessed on that particular skill, the child will excel because he has experienced the learning by doing the project. That's an added advantage there. Second point is, we always believe that our students or our learners should be always engaged when they are learning any concept. And how well we are creating that environment of engagement in learning really matters. So when the environment is created that the child is learning the skills, the assessment becomes much more easier, because the child has learned, concepts are very clear. So anytime the child is being assessed, he will be able to showcase what his learning is. So assessment is nothing but presenting what you have learned. And it's, as Ms. Sujata has said, and Ms. Pooja, I will definitely resonate with their views, that it's an ongoing progressive development in a child's understanding and learning. And a child need to always enhance upon his skills as per his or her previous performance. So this kind of assessment environment when we give, which is encouraging, motivating, so learning becomes fun and much more can be expected from the students, is what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Veena ma'am. Sujata ma'am and Pooja ma'am, would you like to add something to Veena ma'am?
Yeah, see, project-based learnings are always very interesting. Children get an opportunity to, investigate, given, whatever the content or the, task given to the students. They just go open up the books, or, go through the news or Google up something, and they try to investigate many new things. And then that is how, lot of insights they, get in from all those different resources, and then the child is trying to put something on. That's very interesting actually. And so we always in school, our Greek school also, we always try to focus more on the project based learning, application based learning, so that child gets an lot of opportunities to introspect and go to various resources. It can be from the peer group, or it can be from the teachers, it can be from the parents.
Like to add to it is that it solely depends upon the teachers how the class is made interesting, and if the teacher has done a good job in teaching the child well, the assessment becomes very easy. And as said by Sujata ma'am very rightly, we have a number of tools now, and we should be happy about it, because the ways of assessing children are too many now, and children are able to solve the project based learning. If you tell a child to give questions and give questions and answers, they are able to solve it very easily. Secondly is, as I said, children are very happy with technology. I feel they learn better with technology. So if you tell them to make presentations, if the vlogs, the podcasts, etc. So again, these are various ways of assessing the children. As I earlier said, also, you can tell the children to come up and make concept maps on the board. Again, that, number one, makes them understand the concepts very well, and secondly, they are able to put forward their views very well, so assessing becomes very easy. So I feel that these number of tools which are there with us, they are really helpful and actually makes the class very interesting.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am. Lastly, Sujata ma'am, uh, how do you think that teachers can effectively use assessments and evaluations to differentiate instructions and meet the needs of the diverse learners? Could you suggest us some ways, ma'am? Ma'am, you're on mute actually.
uh, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah. Uh, See, there are different ways of classroom assessment techniques, where, teacher can evaluate or assess the child through different classroom assessment techniques, which we call it as the CATs. That can be in the form of, debate or a quiz, or a role play. It can be a drama, it can be a concept map, it can be a mind map. There are various ways to assess with a different classroom assessment techniques. So in order to address this range of skills and needs of the student, today's diverse classroom, teachers need to develop and use varied teaching and assessment strategies. So differentiated instruction is one such technique that provides students with different avenues of for acquiring and processing the content. So it also entails the identifying both the appropriate entry points for the learners, as well as the exit points for the students to express their learning. And this is how teachers also ensure that every child gets an opportunity to develop, and then that is how they evaluate. But as you said, diverse learners means every child is unique. Okay, so we cannot, if a child doesn't understand what the teacher is teaching, okay, so then teacher has to teach in a way the child understands. We cannot use the same strategy for all. But of course, in a group, we give a same content delivery. But if a child is facing any learning gap or anything, definitely the teachers need to reach out, to, add on the points and make them understand. And then, it can be a orally or a written kind of assessment also can be done.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sujata ma'am. Veena ma'am, Pooja ma'am, would you like to add something to her? Would you like to suggest us some ways?
See, I would like to say is that, again, the teacher plays a very important role in the classroom. May it be teaching them or may it be assessing them. And I feel that, if the teacher is well versed with the concepts, she can impart that particular lesson very well. So the need of the books is actually not there. If the teacher knows the chapter and she is well prepared with her tools and with her teaching methodologies, she can actually make the class sing and also engage all kinds of children into her teaching. Then is the time when the children give the best results. For example, I would talk of a traditional method of assessment is the quiz, which I feel is practically very good and very interesting and also not time consuming. If a teacher has taught a concept a previous day and you tell the children that next day I'm going to just ask a rapid fire quiz from you, and as you enter the class you start asking questions from them, and just in 5 minutes that quiz is over, let me tell you, children, they really enjoy this, and they look forward to the next day. That next day also ma'am will come and will ask questions, so they are well prepared. So I feel this is a very good method of assessing children, which is easy and also helps us to make the children learn well. When they are answering in that manner only, they learn and they are able to answer the questions. Also, it motivates the children. When the child gives an answer to the teacher and the teacher, gives a pat on the back, or she motivates the children by giving a star or appreciates them in the class, again that's a big moral boost for the child, and the child feels that next time I am going to prepare even better and come to the class, and motivates the entire class.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am. Veena ma'am, would you like to add something to Pooja ma'am and Sujata ma'am?
Yes, definitely. This differentiation, word itself is a boost for all the educators. This is what I feel, because here comes the biggest challenge: how we are training our teachers to involve all the learners in the class, and our teachers need to be groomed to plan lessons in a way that we cater to each and every individual child's needs. Same goes with the evaluation as well. So evaluation, as both the panelists have shared, that have to be very innovative, very engaging. Quiz can be one of the part, and having a role play, as Ms. Sujata has said. So there are multiple things which teachers can incorporate. Recently we have been talking about flip learning, any topic being taught in the class, next day a group of children come and share the same learning in the form of flip learning, where teacher task becomes easy. And when we make a rubrics to assess, the children how they have learned the concept, so the rubric itself, it becomes easy for a teacher to assess the children understanding of the concepts. So for assessing the children, the criteria on the basis of which we are going to map their learning is very important. And the criterias or the rubrics have to be again differentiated as per the class level of the students. And third point which I would like to add up here is, when we have our instructions, teachers, when they give the instruction on a particular learning or assessment, that has to be planned in a way that we reach out to each and every child, and if required differentiated assessment processes need to be also incorporated in our evaluation. So what happens is an integration of MI we discussed in the beginning of the session, plus more and more, if our teachers can have these multidisciplinary aspects added in our teaching learning, that makes our learning assessment evaluations much easier and fun loving, because we know the children who are the special ones of ours, they are much more keen towards art, music, dance. So somehow our topics need to be integrated in a way that learning in the class itself is fun, and we are able to involve those special ones also into the complete learning process, is what I feel. So differentiation is the key, where we need to especially mention about it to our teachers repeatedly. Empathy towards all the learners is again a key factor which we need to incorporate. And definitely assessment evaluation becomes very, very stress free for both the learners and the teachers, is what my take is on this. Thank you.
Yeah, rightly said, Veena ma'am and Pooja ma'am. So to add on, if in any chapter, if all the children are facing problem, a teacher can conduct a kind of survey taking into consideration the muddiest point.
Yes.
Muddiest point is the point where every child has some kind of doubt in that particular concept. If teacher is able to do such kind of survey where any particular concept or any chapter the children are facing difficulty, if they take the statistics and find out all the children have not find out one sub concept, that we call it as a muddiest point. If we conduct and then re instruct that particular topic, definitely the children can understand better, and during assessment also. And to add on, even the field trips can be made much more interesting, rather than just taking them for a visit and then bringing them back. Rather than right from the start, from the bus, they can try out with, as ma'am Veena ma'am told about the integrated projects. A field trip can be integrated with many subjects, like they can take up the languages as a letter writing or a diary writing, email writing, the how was their journey, or it can be an article writing. And with respect to mathematics, they can go with the distance calculations, ratio, proportion, such kind of can be integrated, converting that kilometers to meters, or how much of these fuel consumption. Similarly, going to science, if they're going for a any trip, we can integrate even the science and social also. So if you take such kind of art integrated projects and make it much more interesting, so children will never forget, and it is easy to assess also. After the complete visit is over, next day they give the review of their visit. So if we can take that review, we can understand how much the child has understood with the real life application, rather than explaining them, showing in the TV or kind of projector inside the classroom in the four walls. Rather, we take them outside and give them that plethora of ways to understand the real life application. Definitely a child will do better, and the teacher's assessment also becomes easier. And how many of them know that traffic signals, the LCM concept has been used? Okay, so so we give those examples are very, very important. There are three signals. So at what time all the three signals go green? This is the LCM concept. With these kind of examples, if we explain to the students, definitely children will understand much better. And of course, during the evaluation, marks doesn't speak, because we cannot teach 200 days and then expect a magic in 2 hours from the children. But yes, we need to make them confident enough, and then train them to face their further competitive examinations.
Thank you so much, Sujata ma'am. Thank you so much, Veena ma'am. Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, for being here today. It was lovely having you here on board with us.
Thank you, Mehak, for the wonderful opportunity. Thank you, panel. It was a delight being in the session.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful interacting with all of you. Thank you, Mehak.
Thank you, Mehak, so much for the opportunity given. And thank you, Veena ma'am, Pooja ma'am. A lot of inputs taken from you. And that was wonderful interacting with all of you.
Mehak, can I end up with something I want to add?
Sure, ma'am. Please go ahead.
One thing which both the panelists have touched upon is the art integration, which I feel is very nicely, taken up and, told to us by CBSE. And I feel children are actually enjoying that.
Yes.
Secondly, I feel that, these moral science books and GK books should be done away with. That's my opinion. Because I feel that these are things which cannot be taught from the books.
Yes, very true.
I feel that, in a moral science class, we can divide the children into groups And we can tell any topic. Suppose we have to teach them the moral of honesty, so we can tell them to think of any story based on this particular topic, and should be divided into various groups, and then they should come out and do a play related to this particular moral value. So this, then they are going to depict that particular moral value. They are going to enjoy, dramatize, as well as they are going to learn from each other. So I feel this is a very good way, instead of telling them to read any story of the moral science book. Then, in case you want to teach the children about plants, instead of making them sit in the four walls of the classroom and telling them to open the book, I feel we should take them to the field, to the garden nearby, and they can just sit down under the tree and learn from there. They can take magnifying glasses, and then they can see various parts of the plant over there. The teacher can teach in this way. So these are various ways in which children would enjoy. There would be a difference in the environment also, and it would be really interesting for children as well. As thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am. Thank you so much, Veena ma'am and Sujata ma'am, once
Thank
again.
you.
And for
Thank
all the viewers watching us out, do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more stuff like this. Thank you, ma'am. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day, all of you.
Okay, bye bye.